touching on the top prop bets in the NBA today. All right, so looking at the board for today, it is going to be an okay one. There's just not that many bets out there right now, especially like great elite bets. The board's just tight, and that's typically how it is on Taco Tuesday, really before they drop any tacos. And so with that, I do plan on doing a live stream today, and that'll be probably with an hour or so left of the second taco, and then obviously you can use that for that taco and then the third taco as well. But let's go ahead and get into today's slate, kind of just breaking down which ones are going to be the best bets to pair with the first taco. So NHL wise, we are getting one really good bet as it sits right now. The under is set at -155 and the over is set at +122. So if we take out the juice from those odds, we'll see that it has about a 57% chance to hit. Those are good odds. We'll take those odds any day of the week. So if this bet's still out there when the taco's there, I think this is just a strong number bet that we can make. Once again, the whole thing that we're trying to do with like the taco bets is take the free square, that's the taco essentially, and it's not always a free square. It's about 80 to 90% of the time it's going to hit. But by doing that, then you're basically giving yourself a 50% or 57% chance for you to have a profitable bet. And then for what it's worth, I always like to just kind of confirm it with DraftKings Sportsbook to give that same consistent message. We see they are a little bit tighter, -140. That's still going to be a good line to use. Another one is going to be Sidney Crosby over 2.5 shots on goal. This is favored at -143, so a pretty good number that we are getting there. I would say it's far from a lock and load, but still, if you just want to chase some like good odd bets with the taco, the morning taco, I don't mind that idea. But let's just call this out. Like, this is kind of the issue, and this is why I like to double check kind of everywhere. So on average, -143 for the over. DraftKings Sportsbook has it much tighter. Okay, so maybe this is one that we just kind of do a wait and see approach on. And that's the thing. It's like you never have to force in a bet if you don't feel like it is the correct move. And so right now, I personally am seeing that. Now, the next bet that we have would be Mark under 2.5 shots on goal. We can see it's a little bit better, but on average, it's about -150 for the under. But the very interesting thing, and this is across all sports books, the very interesting thing is that the over is an even push, which is very strange. And so the message that that's saying is that we have some inconsistencies between the sports books trying to figure out which odds they should give it. So it's about a 55% chance for it to hit at -150 on average currently. That number could change, obviously, either way. I don't really feel great about it, but two bets that I want to call out, the -150 and the -155, because they are a pretty strong bet. And then for what it's worth, we are getting one decent college basketball bet that I saw. It would be Harmon over 15.5 points. This is currently set at -145 to get the over. Oh, apologies. Under. It is -145 for the under. And let's just pull this up on DK Sportsbook as well, just to confirm that for you guys. And so we can see DraftKings Sportsbook is also kind of giving that same message, -145. So a decent line that we're getting there for the under. Now let's go ahead and get to some NBA bets. So NBA wise right now, it is a little bit annoying because I feel like we should have a bigger board than we do right now. And also part of the annoying part is that someone like Horton-Tucker, which I think would be a prop that we'd be loading up on, they're not giving us that many lines for him, okay? Like, they're not giving us a points one. They're not giving us fantasy score just yet. And he would kind of be the route in which you would want to go. So let's just kind of talk about Horton-Tucker. So with him, it's looking at the over threes. The over threes is actually projected at -140 on average right now, and both the Sportsbook line and PrizePicks line has it set at 1.5. That's going to be a good number. We haven't projected to get 1.8 threes. Okay, so far from a lock and load, but if we look at it, we can see like on average doesn't really average that much, but the huge thing with this one is going to be the simple fact that two of the players that have a high usage rate, Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson, are both going to be off the court. Thus, Horton-Tucker should step up into a bigger role. He is someone that, has shot 3, 6, and 5 three-ball attempts. And if you look at the per 36 numbers with them off the court, and if you want to toss in Beasley and Conley in there as well, he does average about 5 3-point attempts as well. Just needs to make them, right? Now, to me, yes, like on paper, this is going to be the best one that we're getting, 1.5 3-pointers made. But at the same time, I almost just want to wait until we get points, rebounds, and assists to see that one, or potentially fantasy points as well. Just going over his per 36 numbers, they are pretty crazy. With Conley, with Clarkson, and with Sexton off the court, he averages 20 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and averages 44 fantasy points and has a usage rate of 26%. That usage rate is about 4% more, okay? And he averages 2 more rebounds, 4 more points, 2 more assists, okay? So all those numbers are up. So, we could easily just bet points and rebounds, points and assists. And so if we just go ahead and sort by like Horton-Tucker as well, like we can see points and assists might be the route to go, just projection wise, project to get over that number. On average, not the best, but that's because he wasn't getting that many minutes. Recently, he has gotten those minutes. Gets a great matchup against the Spurs. And so that'd probably be the route that we'd want to go. But also want to point out last game against the Spurs, only 24 minutes. And so the Spurs are most likely going to have Trey Jones back. So I feel like with him back, the chances of them getting blown out are going to be a little bit less, although Branahan for the Spurs has been playing really well as well. So the Spurs have just been a headache. At the same time, they are a good matchup to chase. So that's honestly the toughest part about providing content this early in the morning, is that I would like to see the full board for Horton-Tucker prior to us making these prop bets. At the same time, I kind of expect the numbers to go up slightly. Points and rebounds, maybe slightly. Points and assists, probably slightly. I'm very curious as to what the points prop is going to be as well. But like fantasy score, and it probably won't. If we could get a fantasy score at like 30 fantasy points, we would just be loading up on that one. So like Walker Kessler as well. Like I wish we were getting fantasy points for him as well, because he is someone that can stuff the stat sheet via blocks and whatnot. Okay, gets a great matchup going against the Spurs as well. A matchup that he just had 5 blocks against. Okay, 2 assists, 1 steal, 9 points, and 12 rebounds. Like he is someone that has shown he can get it done in multiple ways. And given the matchup, like if we can get a fantasy projection about 30 or so points, that's going to be huge. I think we would bet the over there in that scenario. And look at the last 2 matchups since the All-Star break. OKC and the Spurs, 2 of the easiest matchups for opposing centers. I love the fact that the minutes have been there for him as well. Now let's go ahead and pull up Walker Kessler here as well. We can see like points and assists, they are favoring that at -130. That could be one that you're attacking. The projection is pretty high for that as well. I actually like points and rebounds a decent amount. This is very much going to be based off of the matchup against the Spurs as well. -125. We can see heavily projected to get the over. And so if we scroll down why, we can see why, based off of the opponents, should be able to get the over. Based off of just kind of all the data points, should be able to get over as well. So if we just take his average times his projected minutes, he's going to get over this by 1. Now if we factor in the matchup as well, we get over by 4. Now, if we take what the prop line should be based off of his projected minutes, he's going to crush. And so that's how we get this projection. And so for what it's worth, like his per 36 numbers doesn't really increase that much with those players off the court. And it's an extremely small sample size, but he crushes. It's like 20. It's not even worth mentioning. It's only 50 minutes into that. So not even worth mentioning. And actually, I'll just show it with Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson off the court. Okay, so that's a little bit better of a sample size. 20 minutes going, or 200 minutes going into the sample size, averages 15 points, 12 rebounds. Okay, 1.6 assists and a few blocks as well. Okay, and his fantasy point total per 36 is crazy, like 40. So yeah, I would say if we can get a good fantasy prop number on Walker Kessler, that's going to be one we're chasing as well. Now let's get into some of the other ones that we're getting on tonight's board. Like Jakob Poeltl, loaded up on him the last 2 games that he's played in, and I kind of want to chase him again tonight. But at the same time, like he has been highly productive through his first 3 games with the Toronto Raptors, and so at some point that's got to come back down. Now, the matchup tonight is going to be a little bit better with the Bulls than it was with Cleveland. Not by much, but, a little bit better. And so the best prop that we're getting for him would be over 2.5 assists. We can see through his 3 games with them, he's gotten 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so 2 out of 3 games gotten the over. I don't mind points, rebounds, and assists as well. This number seems extremely low. The only way like you wouldn't make this bet is like it's got to come back down at some point. He's got to have a bad game at some point, right? And so maybe that happens tonight. I would say more times than not, this is way too low of a prop number though. And so I could see trying to target it. I'm actually curious as to the minutes that he's projected to get, 31. So with the Spurs, average about 27.8. So if he gets 31 minutes, yeah, he should be able to get the over in that scenario. And so that's where, maybe with Jakob Poeltl as well, as someone that has been really just stuffing the stat sheets, maybe you just wait until fantasy points comes out as well. The one thing that worries me, and I think he had 27 minutes in the first game because it was the front end of a back-to-back. And then I think he had 27 minutes in this game against Cleveland simply due to the fact that they were getting blown out, okay? So I do expect him to get around 30 to maybe even 37 minutes, okay? We got to wait and see. Actually, we can't wait and see. It's just we got to make an educated decision there. And I would say that, yeah, he probably will get more minutes than that. Now, for what it's worth, I feel like we should check these 2 games as well. So the Spurs, yeah, probably going to be a blowout. Utah is favored by 9.5 points, but that seems kind of crazy to me. With Jordan Clarkson out, with Colin Sexton out, that they're favored by that much. We're just hoping that the Spurs can keep it close enough for long enough. Then let's look at that other game. Yeah, okay, Toronto versus the Bulls, projected to stay close. Not the highest scoring game, though. Kelly Olynyk's game, heavily favored there as well. Just in that good matchup. But, like, not a lot of, like, standout bets. And so we do get a good bet for under for Scotty Barnes, but he's projected to get over the assist. So probably one that I stay away from, just given the fact that he's projected to get over. Buddy as well, like the under projection isn't low enough for me to really feel great about it, even though, we're getting minus 136, minus 138. Not terrible, but feels like we're forcing it. And then so if we continue on, this one's not terrible. Scotty Barnes, the average sportsbooks line has it set at 15.2 points, and it's favored at minus 125 to get over that. He's projected to get 15.8 points, and we can see the PrizePicks line is set at 14.5. So there is a slight edge there. If I had to give a bet for today, like if we get no better bets by the time the first taco comes out, I'm perfectly fine making that bet with Scotty Barnes, just like I am with one of the like Walker Kessler or Horton-Tucker props. I'm fine using one of those if we have to. And then Halliburton as well, we're getting like a half of a assist or point here, a slight edge, but projection isn't too high. So yeah, these are all ones that probably just staying away from. Dylan Brooks, nothing too crazy there for under bets. Ooh, and fantasy score just came out. Any ones that we can go with? Yeah, Jakob Poeltl here. I think this would be the move, okay? Like, I would say more times than not, he's going to get the over here. 30.5, that's so low. Like, what? He has crushed this 4 straight games for them. Yeah, we're probably using this one. Very interesting there. And for what it's worth, like with Scotty Barnes, the biggest issue is that he hasn't been over this point total recently. And is this due to Jakob Poeltl? That's the biggest question. So this is the tough part about the second half of the season, is that it is a little bit of trying to figure out what teams are trying to do. Teams are, starting to tank more. Playoff teams are resting their starters a little bit more, reducing minutes here and there. And some other teams are doing the exact opposite of that. They're trying to vamp up the minutes as well for players that maybe have been injured. Chris Middleton, for instance. And so I'm curious, are we getting any more points props? No, not really. I do just real quickly want to talk about the Lakers real quick because LeBron is going to be out. AD does crush. And let's see if we're getting fantasy points for him. We are not. AD scores about 50 fantasy points per 36 with LeBron off the court. And with Westbrook off the court, I think that's big as well. So he is someone that you could potentially chase. Gets about 21 points and 16 rebounds per 36. And you can never fully trust Anthony Davis. And this actually is probably slightly too high. Now, the matchup with Memphis is going to be the appealing part. Probably feels like we're forcing a little bit. Are we getting any for Hachimura? It was actually, I was seeing that we were getting some for Jared Vanderbilt. So it's probably just a stay away, guys. Like if the minutes are there for Jared Vanderbilt, yeah, he should be able to get over this. I'm actually curious. Let's just see if we have minutes projection for him. So we can see sportsbooks kind of have it set at even push. Projected to get 30 minutes. If he gets 30 minutes, then he should be able to get over this points and rebounds. Like pretty easily. And he is expected to start. So yeah, this could be a really good line there for him. So I wouldn't mind that. 17.5 is just too low. So it's per 36. Once again, our 19.3 rebounds or points and 14.4 rebounds. Now that is a very small sample size. That's less than 100 minutes. Obviously, a lot of these players just haven't been with the team that much, but that's a pretty good number that we're getting. Then another one I want to mention, we are not getting any props for OKC just yet. I'm hoping that they give us a really good line on Josh Giddey again. The previous slate, Josh Giddey was set at 40 fantasy points, where it was interesting because he actually is a little bit worse on average with SGA off the court. So I'm very curious as to see what line we're going to get there. We did see like Jalen Williams, Isaiah Joe, Dort are all pretty good players that actually pick up usage and fantasy points per 36 with SGA off the court. So that could be a spot that we're chasing. And then we're also not getting any lines for Portland just yet, unfortunately. So we're kind of waiting on those. Damn. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. I wish we were getting more lines out there this morning. All right, so I feel lucky that we got the fantasy points one. Let's hope that holds up for Jakob Poeltl. Just once again with this NHL bets, I take the odds, guys. That's just what I do. Minus 155 for the under here. That's pretty strong. Walker Kessler does feel like we're forcing it a little bit. I wish we were getting a fantasy point one here. We'll see as the day progresses. Jared Vanderbilt, I'm fine with this as well. Points, rebounds, and assists. His per 36 numbers are crazy, but small sample size. And then Horton-Tucker, I'm not sure if like the rebounds is the move, but Vegas was favoring it. The projections were favoring it. I'm just going to go with that. And so really the purpose with Taco Tuesday, once again, is what, guys? We want to hit at least 6 total bets to profit, okay? So that could be all the tacos hitting and then hitting 2 of your bets with that taco. It could be 2 of the tacos hitting and hitting 3 of your bets with those tacos, okay? So as it sits right now, these are fine, Does feel like we're forcing a little bit. Just want to make that very clear. I'm hoping we get some better props as the day progresses. If I had to choose two, I feel pretty good about Jakob Poeltl. At the same time, eventually he's going to have a bad game, and it just kind of feels like he's due. I'm fine kind of taking that risk today because it is still too low of a line. All right, that's all I have for you guys for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. If you did, make sure to give a like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate, and as always, let's keep cashing.